Hey, garden friends. AJ here. I know, I know, I got some explaining to do. But hey, thanks for everyone being patient and kind and sending their regards and so forth in my absence. I know I took a brief hiatus. It's been several months since December that I last posted a video, and I want to apologize. But sometimes, life throws you curveballs, and you have to put things into perspective, and you have to shift your priorities. So, anyway, everything is good. I'm good. And as you just saw, the garden is an epic disaster. So, I decided on this beautiful, sunny Saturday afternoon to tackle this herb garden. It looks like hell. So everything is kind of overgrown and clearly not tended to. Now, the things that are doing well in this bed is obviously the chamomile. The chamomile is just seeded everywhere. It's very prolific. The lavender is doing pretty well. This is Vera lavender. Okay. The what is that? All right, and the wild onions, they're doing pretty good. However, I gotta say the rosemary, which is called Arp, it's the Arp variety of rosemary. So the Arp rosemary isn't doing too well. We had several deep freezes where it went under 20 degrees Fahrenheit for several days in a row, and they didn't seem to fare well in that type of weather condition. So I'm left with the choice of either cutting them down, not all the way to the ground, but cutting them severely in half and see if they'll come back. Some of them have green foliage and some of them don't. But for the overall aesthetic of this bed, I like everything to be uniform, in tip-top shape, because, it is a parterre garden after all. So here I have Verbena bonariensis, all right, which clearly took a hit because it's not an evergreen in this climate. So I'm going to cut those down. Hopefully they can flush back up. And after tackling this herb garden, I want to switch gears. I want to switch gears and tackle this small raised bed vegetable garden. Can you guys believe that these are the remnants of my pepper plants from last year? Pepper plants, which I have yet to even start for this season, by the way. So I'm way behind. I am way behind this year. All right, we'll clean all this up in a minute. So I'm going to start by cutting down this Verbena bonariensis and also kind of look out to see if there's any new growth at the base. Because honestly, if I really don't see any new growth, I'll just have to dig out the plant altogether. Now I should know better because Verbena bonariensis is a heavy cedar. I mean, it is so prolific, and I should know better to at least clean this up in the fall after it was flowering, because I think now I've just dispersed seeds everywhere. So this is a learning experience for me, this herb garden, as far as what's suitable to create that aesthetic parterre garden. Chamomile is too prolific. It reseeds everywhere. The good thing is I at least have it concentrated in a certain area. But Verbena bonariensis, it's a prolific cedar as well. And like I just said, I just cut this thing down and shaked the stems with the dry seed heads. Hopefully the birds came in and ate as many of these seeds as they possibly could, which will kind of help me out. But needless to say, I'll definitely see a lot of little seedlings when it starts warming up. All right, so the center of this bed, it looks good already. Cleared out with all that rubbish. Time to move to cutting down this Arp. As you can see, the stems of this Arp, it looks pretty dry. So let's cut it down a quarter way and see if it's green. Okay. That appears to be green, somewhat. I don't know if we can focus in on it. So what that tells me is the plant is still alive. Another thing I like to do is scrape. Let's see if I can bring you guys in a little closer. All right, take for example this branch right here. I'll cut it down a quarter, and sometimes I like to scrape the bark. I don't know if you guys can see that. You scrape the bark and it still shows up green or fresh. Let's see if I can focus that camera. All right, so right there, the bark is green, which means the plant is still pretty much alive. It just needs to leaf out. So taking that cue, I'll cut everything down about a quarter. And keep my fingers crossed. And within a month's time, I should start seeing the plant leafing out. Fresh new leaves. All right. So I'm going to do that for all of these Arp plants. Arp Rosemary. I think it's hardy down to zone 3. Now with rosemary in general, you don't want to go into the woody base of the plant. You don't want to cut the woody base of the plant because more than likely it will not regrow, or if it does regrow, it'll look really sparse. So you want to cut all of the tips, kind of like I'm doing now, and no more than a quarter into the plant, because clearly you want to preserve your plants, right? So I don't think anyone wants to go out and spend a whole bunch of money on new plants if they don't have to. So I gotta say, when you're grooming your plants, okay, when you're doing a garden cleanup, say a spring cleanup, for example, like I'm doing here, you don't necessarily want to do a partial cleanup. You don't want your plants to look partially okay, because when you're done cleaning up the area, you want it to look a lot cleaner than it did before. So if you're only partially pruning or partially cleaning up, take, for example, this rosemary plant here, you want it to look either freshly cut all the way or just take the entire plant out. So that's the dilemma I'm having here, because clearly I want to keep this parterre garden to look as aesthetically pleasing as possible. See this right here? This is a really good, healthy sprig of rosemary. So as I'm cutting, I'm paying attention to, what's really good and what's really fresh and what's not. Clearly, I want to save this. Some good sprigs right here. Definitely want to save that.
I think I cut this one already. Yeah.
Save that. All right, guys, I think I'm done cutting the Arp Rosemary hedge. All right, so I just knocked out cutting back the Arp Rosemary, which really didn't fare too well in my opinion. They sell it as being hardy down to zone, I think 3, which to me, what is that, Alaska? But apparently those really deep freezes we had several of them, I'd say probably 4, which is a lot for our region. So the plants didn't really fare too well. Now the lavender, which is Vera lavender, let me show you guys. This lavender fared pretty well. Look at it, it's still blue. It gets great drainage on this hillside. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clip the tops and let it reflush and hopefully flower by late spring, early summer. All right. So I just grab a handful, and you know what I want to do? I want to actually save the cuttings of this lavender, and I could always use this to make tea. So most of us know that some of the benefits of lavender are relaxation, all right, aromatherapy, and in aiding with relaxation, it allows you to bring your heart rate down, okay. It promotes better sleep. So there are many benefits for lavender. The same with lavender. You don't want to cut into the woody portion of the plant, because when you cut that deep into the lavender plant, into the woody portion, there's a chance that it may not grow back. So you want to keep it nice and light, basically a trim. Okay, that plant looks decent. So I have these are quadrants of the Partier, and I have 2 separate quadrants with 4 with 4 Vera lavender plants. Just gonna move in here, trim this 4th one. Just smells so heavenly. I got to share with you guys. So besides this lavender, another thing that's providing really great aromatherapy as I'm doing this task, let me show you guys, is this magnolia tree right here. It's a deciduous magnolia. I believe it's called star magnolia. And the flowers are just heavenly. Both the smell and they're just beautiful. Now the flowers are practically spent. They're on their way out. But I gotta tell you, the smell is just heavenly. Anytime I open that door, that side door, or I come out to throw the trash or head out into the yard, this is the first scent that greets me as I leave the house. So it's definitely a keeper. So as I'm trimming back this lavender, I don't see any flower buds. So that's a good thing, and that's really important. You want to make sure anytime you're pruning your plants, pay attention to when they actually flower, because the last thing you want to do is be so hasty in cleaning that you forget their flowering times and you end up cutting off buds or, prospective buds. I'm trying my best not to step near the root zones of these lavender plants, because I don't want to put too much compaction in that area. All right, guys, this little harvest of lavender, it's not too bad, right? Like I said, this will make some great tea. You could also put it in your bath water. You can make satchels and put it under your pillow to help you sleep at night. All right, guys, I'm gonna level with you. So I may have been a little too ambitious with attacking this herb garden today. I did get a substantial amount of work done, trimming back the Arp Rosemary hedge and some of the Vera lavender shrubs. So everything looks nice and trimmed back. The Verbena bonariensis, try saying that fast 4 times, have been cut back flush. So I'm just gonna run through here and pull a whole bunch of weeds and wrap up this job. And I will see you guys on the next video. And I apologize for waiting this long to putting out content. Just stick with me, roll with me, and this is gonna be a beautiful season. It's gonna be a beautiful growing season, which I'm really looking forward to. All right, so I'll see you on the next one.